What's going on, everyone? It's me, and I figured I'd make a video discussing Nutnfancy's PTR91 review and give you my take on it. Now, I think H&K was in their heyday, especially, was the grandfather of modern tactical weaponry. Now, they started off making washers and dryers and crap, and then they were Mauser, and then they became known as Heckler & Koch out of Germany. So there's the Sturmgewehr, and then there's the Setme, which I guess Vorgrimler made, and then the Belgians wouldn't give the Germans the G1 or the FNFAL. So they started making these things, and this is one of my pit bulls right here, Pepper. Lay down. She's a big ass dog. She's just a puppy. So this is the lightest, shortest, and easiest of all the Cold War era rifles, such as an FNFAL, an M14, and the Swiss SG510 and all that shit. This is the easiest one to mount optics to because it has little lips that you can clamp on the Hensoldt Z-scopes. But even without this welded Picatinny rail, it's still easy to mount optics to this thing. So it is a 17.7 inch barrel. And the actual H&K ones have polygonally rifling, cold hammer forged barrels. Lost my train of thought. But they were badass. They weren't lined or anything. They were just badass barrels. And damn good rifles. Now, any serious AR-10, I'm talking about one an actual military uses, will weigh just about exactly the fucking same as this rifle. I'm talking about from Heckler & Koch, like the 417 or the SIG 716. Any serious prepper would not go with a Palmetto State direct gas impingement AR-10. They call this the poor man's SCAR. And before the SCAR came out, the G3 Kurtz, meaning short, which had a 12.5 inch barrel or 12.7 inch barrel, was king for, like the assaulting, helicopter sniper rifle, all that stuff. So that Nutnfancy video, God, he had a crappy ass PTR91. And I'm not trying to take up for PTR91. Quick, get down. You think I'm talking to you? I'm not trying to take up for PTR91, especially in this world of shills on YouTube and NRA paid dudes and all that mess. But the issue I had with the Nutnface review on the PTR91 is, like 2 years prior, he did a video review on the Century Arms C93. C93 is pretty much a 223 Remington or 5.56 NATO version of this rifle. It weighs almost the same. And he gave that rifle a glowing review. Now, the Century Arms C93 is pretty much a Malaysian Century Arms monstrosity parts build. Some of them are actually pretty good, I heard. It was a good budget rifle for its time. It didn't have the paddle magazine release. This one does. That's one good feature you want. So you have the actual manual of arms that you're supposed to have for the G3. But he gave that rifle, the C93, which is pretty much a Heckler & Koch 90 HK 93 or 33. he gave that rifle a glowing review. This rifle is almost the same weight and has a bigger caliber. Now the M110 at the U.S. Army, we used to have those, is probably a lot heavier than this rifle itself. And that's a direct gas impingement AR-10. And it was a piece of crap. I think any serious prepper would take a serious look at this rifle, unless they have the money to get a Scar H or ARX 200 when those come out, or a Galil Ace in 7.62 NATO. But this rifle, in my opinion, I need to make a video just to prove my damn point, is very accurate. I would say under 2 minutes of angle with crappy ass Tula ammunition. From my experience, it takes good things from the AK and the AR-15, and it has its own life to it. It takes the accuracy of an AR-15, which I like from the AR, and some modularity. Even though it has a stamped sheet metal receiver, you could take crap from different of the HK roller delayed blowback rifles and put them on. It's amazing. But for stamped sheet metal, how you don't have to file and fit like an AK. Now, from the AK perspective, and I have a lot of AKs, it takes the stamped sheet metal, cheap way to make it back in the day. Nowadays it's polymer, but it takes the this is supposedly the most reliable of the NATO rifles. Now the FAL is badass, don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on it, but this is supposed to be like the Western AK. So that's really all I wanted to say. I disagreed with that Nutnfancy video review. I do think his video, or his rifle, did suck and was a huge fail in that video, but I call them AR-15 FUDs. People are stuck in this mentality that every fucking rifle has to be an AR-15 or has to have last round bolt hold open features or absolute co-witness with fucking iron sights, or it has to be 5 fucking pounds. And I think that's ridiculous. I think people need to get out of the AR-15 mentality. AR-15s are good and shit, but I clearly remember my rifle going down many times when, just from a damn sandstorm on a patrol, or riding in a Humvee with the open turret, and just the sand getting into everything in the AR-15. I really think AR-15s are great for police, but they do tend to suck when they get a lot of grit in them. Every rifle does, but the AR-15 will completely shut down. I'm not saying the AR-15 is a bad rifle, but for a prepper or a militia man, or like, you know, someone that plans on going out in some crappy warfield environment and living out in the shit for weeks on end, I think this is a better design, unless you have the money to fork up for a Scar and 308. So, main thing I wanted to say is the concept of this rifle is it doesn't have a gas system, so it's supposed to have bolt action like velocity readings, and it's supposed to have very good accuracy. The handguards are free floating. Heckler & Koch was some of the first people to start doing the polymer thing, and this rifle to me is just as relevant today as an AR-15 or an AK. As a matter of fact, some of the roller delayed blowback weapons might actually be younger than the AR-15. But people that believe that everything needs an absolute co-witness, I think usually don't know how to shoot, because when you zero your red dot sight or whatever type of optic that you use, a lot of times, you know, when you're wearing body armor and crap, especially, you don't want that neck contorting, and it won't even actually line up with your iron sights if it's properly zeroed. Another thing is cheek weld. A lot of people believe that you have to have this pristine Camp Perry cheek weld, and if you've ever worn neck, the fucking neck crap for body armor, you know, it is kind of nice just to put it to your shoulder pocket and just squeeze off around. So a lot of times you don't get luxuries to get in perfect positions and have pristine cheek weld to get off a good shot. So I think people need to get out of the AR mentality, because there's a lot of good weapons out there that don't have last round hold open or perfect cheek weld. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to say. I thought that video was bullshit, to be honest. I do need to make a video showing what kind of accuracy this rifle can get. There's a Chris Barcotti, I believe is his name, Small Arm Solutions, and he gave it a pretty good review. He doesn't strike me as a shill or a bullshitter, but I'm not sure how long this video can roll, so, or get on my YouTube channel, so I'm going to cut this off. Thanks for watching and take care.